Greetings, loyal Information Highway fans. I am Non, and you are watching another Friday Ace of Spades website review. And today the topic is a little bit critical like it was last week, and it is don't judge a book by its cover and other naive sayings that get marketers killed. And I apologise in advance to Clive, my hapless victim this week. Thank you for recommending your site to be judged, Clive, to have me tear it to pieces in front of everyone. And I apologise in advance for the negative things that I'm going to say. Like last week's review, this one is going to be a little bit critical, and I will be concentrating on a number of fairly similar kinds of ideas, but with a bit of a different spin this time. As always, we're going through the photo conversion rate checklist, which stands for first reaction, orientation, desirability, and offers. And not forgetting that Odo is the core of the checklist. Those elements are the ones that you really need to pay attention to. Although in today's case, you'll be seeing that first reaction is actually very important as well. And of course, attention equals contrast plus eye path. That's the way that we make sure that those elements are getting the attention that they need. So, jumping first to first reaction, how does the site make me feel? Alright, I've said that Odo is the core of the checklist, but first reaction is really important because if you have a poor first reaction to a website, even if everything else is actually really good, like the headline is good and the body copy is good and the call to action is good, even if you've got all these excellent elements there and they're getting the right attention and everything, if your first reaction to the site has planted the seed of doubt in your mind as to the actual professionalism and, well, authenticity, I suppose, of the site, then you've got a problem. Conversely, the same can be true of a site which is really well designed but has terrible copy and terrible calls to action. If you've got this initial impression that it's really good and it was obviously designed by someone who knows what they're doing and it's given you a good feeling, then even though you've got a lot of other problems going on the site, people will feel a lot more comfortable with actually doing business with you. So in this case, you've got a very amateur looking design. You've got, starting at the top, you've got this header with Guardian Sci-Fi superimposed over the spacescape, starscape background, which is written in a very, well, kind of a corny font, really. The font of the book is actually way better. I've had a look at the PDF, and it's actually quite an attractive font, and I would have thought that would be a better option. Then moving down, you've got Buy Now on the bottom right-hand side of the header, which is almost invisible because of the light background of the button compared to the white text. And underneath that you've got your home, Guardian, generations, the navigation. And the navigation is also, you will not find very often on professionally designed sites navigation that has little icons like that next to it. And there are exceptions to that rule, but one of the main reasons is that icons don't actually help a lot when it comes to this kind of thing, because either people are so accustomed to seeing the text that there's no need for the icons, or the icons are trying to represent something which is kind of so arcane that people don't understand what's going on anyway. Moving down, you've got then these two books should not be missed, which is the first thing you pretty much see when you go to the site and you ignore the text above it because of the yellow highlighter effect, which makes everything look incredibly tacky. And then further down after that, you've got body copy, which is center aligned. You've got two book covers which are very, very low quality and look very pixelated. So your general first reaction, oh yeah, let's not forget the news flash on the left hand side. That doesn't exactly aid the effect at all, does it? So the general first reaction is pretty poor. I'm thinking, this is really an amateur design site. It looks like this guy's just trying to sell his book by himself. He hasn't got anyone to design the website for him, and if this is any reflection of the kind of quality of work, then I'm not going to want to buy this book because it's going to be crap, which is not necessarily the case at all. Orientation is actually not too bad. Guardian Sci-Fi kind of tells you a lot of what you need to know already. The Adventure Begins isn't terribly helpful, but like to read good sci-fi, then these two books should not be missed. That's pretty clear. That tells you more or less everything you need to know, along with those two book covers down below. So there aren't any real problems with orientation here, I wouldn't say, except for the fact that the navigation, people stop putting random words in your navigation. If your book is called Guardian, do not put Guardian in your navigation. Put books, and then take them to a page which differentiates between them. Or say, first book Guardian, second book Generations, or something like that. The rest of it's alright for fun. It's like, what the heck's going to be under for fun, but it doesn't really matter because it's only for fun. Art, yeah, I would probably go more with like concept art, or if it's related to the book, that would make more sense. Or if it's unrelated to the book, then I'm not sure if it should be on the site at all. About me, that's fine. And press release looks like it may be an RSS feed from the icon, but from the text it looks like it's actually going to take me to a page which is a press release. So that's confusing. So you should sort that one out. So either say subscribe to get press releases, or change the icon so that it's something else. Desirability is where we run into a lot of problems. And that's because, as I've already intimated, the desirability of this site is closely related to its first impression, which is very poor. So, let me talk about a few things here. Okay, first of all, we've got this header, and people stop taking random images and putting text over them. It doesn't work. Secondly, you've got this issue with, if you scroll down, you'll see more yellow highlighted text. And then you've got other text here which is superimposed over this kind of weird gradient. And none of the text is really aligned in any consistent way. It's odd sizes. There must be 4 or 5 different sizes going on. There's strange banners placed in the middle of the page. There's a Facebook link. These buy now links are nearly freaking invisible. Everything just looks really awful, quite frankly. You want to make sure that your body text is always left aligned or fully justified. I prefer full justification in general because it's easier to read in general, but on the web that can be pretty iffy because of the fact that web browsers can't do either kerning or tracking or hyphenation very well. So generally speaking, I would say just simply left align your body copy, because when people look for copy to read, their eye is automatically going down the left hand side of your page. It's the same thing with eye path. You haven't got any attention going on for the important stuff here because the eye path isn't right. So if you change that and just left align it, it will fall into the eye path much more readily, and people will automatically think, okay, this is body copy, I'm going to read that, rather than thinking, okay, this is some kind of really extended subhead, I'm just going to skim over this and have a look further down. I mentioned the yellow highlighter effect. There are a couple of problems with this. First of all, in this particular case, you've got this, it's basically a single headline, and if you highlight it like this, it makes sense, because it says, like to read a good sci-fi. Well, like to read good sci-fi? A good sci-fi? Is a sci-fi a thing? I would say like to read good sci-fi. Then these 2 books should not be missed. That's fine. But when you look at it like this, then these 2 books should not be missed jumps out at you because of the extra contrast. Remember, attention equals eye path plus contrast, contrast plus eye path. So you tend to actually ignore the like to read a good sci-fi above it altogether, and just read then these 2 books should not be missed, which doesn't make sense in isolation. The other problem with yellow highlighters, though, and probably more of a problem really, is they look incredibly tacky, and people tend to associate them these days with really hard sell, overhyped marketing, and they assume whenever they see it that what they're seeing isn't worth what they're going to be asked to pay for it. So I really recommend that you go with a much more toned down appearance and get rid of the yellow highlighter altogether. You can stick with red for headlines, because red gets attention really well. There's nothing inherently wrong with red. I don't think people think, oh, a red headline, that's going to be terrible. Red is a good color to use, but using a yellow background like that just looks terrible. One other thing. Who said this? If it was just the author saying that, probably don't put it in there. If it was someone important, you want to say so. The reader wants to know who said this, otherwise it's just, some random crap that the author's typed up and try to make sound impressive. And here we've got a money back guarantee. Money back guarantees are all good. In terms of desirability, a 10-day money back guarantee, not shockingly impressive. I want at least 30 days to have a look at something and decide whether I like it or not. 60 days is better. The longer you go, the more you tend to get a response, obviously. If you've got like a 1-year guarantee, you get higher response than if you've got a 10-day guarantee. If you've got a lifetime guarantee, you get a higher response than if you've got a 1-year guarantee. Interestingly, you also get fewer returns because people don't feel pressured to return the thing if they don't like it, and so they forget about it because people are lazy. It's not worth it for them. So I would change that to a lifetime money-back guarantee, and I would take all that text and I would format it properly onto the web page instead of making it an image. Okay, so you've got all of those issues going on. Lastly, offers. Do my goals match the available options? And here we've got some problems as well. Okay, first of all, the buy now link is very, very small compared to what your average call to action should be in terms of this overall page. It's very difficult to read because the contrast between the text and the image background, the button, is really low. And buy now doesn't work as well as add to cart. I would test the text add to cart instead. More to the point though, what the heck is all this stuff? I count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, okay, dozens probably if you go further down, of links on this page which are going to take me elsewhere instead of buying the books. Which is really kind of silly because most likely you want people to buy your books. So if this is supposed to be a landing page for actually buying the book, make it a landing page for buying the book. If it is a page that is designed to simply promote the book, make it a page that promotes the book and make these two covers here the primary calls to action so people can find out more about each book. And if it is a page that is supposed to give information to allow people to, connect with you on Facebook and find you on science fiction sites directory and go to fan sites and all that kind of thing, then make it that instead. But you need to figure out what the objective of this page is and stick to it. You should only ever have one primary objective for every page, and all the other objectives on the page should support that objective. Alright, okay, I've covered a lot of stuff. Top 4 items. Avoid the yellow highlighter, it looks seriously tacky. Long copy must be justified, either left justified or full justified. Otherwise people will not see it as copy. Images must be a high quality. In fact, I think I forgot to mention that amongst all the other things that I've talked about, but the images here are really blurry and pixelated. They look terrible. Make them high quality, make them bigger, make them nice and crisp so people can see them. And get rid of unrelated links and calls to action. Make sure that your page has a single clear primary objective and that all of the other possible links on the page support it. Email me with comments, questions or hate mail, and of course to get your site reviewed, which is a $99 value. I think I've only got one more review in the queue again, so you're very welcome to email me, otherwise I'll find something else to talk about. And of course, to sign up for free straight shooting marketing tips, and to if you want your site reviewed, you need to be signed up to the Ace of Spades. Sorry, that's the condition. Sign up now at informationhighman.com/ace. Thank you for joining me once again. I am Non, and I will see you next Friday.